Joining me, Pennsylvania Congressman Matt Cartwright, who sits on the Oversight and Government Reform Committee. Representative Cartwright, great to see you. Thanks for joining me.
Hi, Alex. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. I hope you are, too. But let's talk about this issue, which does not exactly split down party lines. There's, in fact, a big bipartisan push now for that 3-month extension of benefits. You have Rhode Island Democrat Jack Reed and Nevada Republican Dean Heller behind that effort. But then you've got Speaker Boehner saying he's only going to back an extension if it is paid for with other cuts. So, realistically, will an extension pass?
Yeah, I hope he abandons that mentality, Alex. I mean, what he's talking about doing is balancing the budget on the backs of the unemployed now. Right here in northeastern Pennsylvania, we're talking about over 6,000 families that are affected. 6,000 families that got off as of December 28th from a lousy $300 a week check. It's not much per family, but overall, you have to remember this is money that goes right back into the economy, and it means, strangely, it cuts about another 240,000 jobs because of the downtick in the economy by cutting that money out of it. It's a dumb thing to do, and it doesn't surprise me that we have bipartisan support to extend these benefits.
Well, if Speaker Boehner, though, sticks to his guns on this, the CBO has said that a 1-year extension would cost the government about $25 billion. So do you see obvious places where the budget could be trimmed to try to pay for more unemployment?
Well, there's always places that you can trim, but Alex, I'll tell you, my own approach is now is not the time to be trimming. Remember, we're still recovering from the thing that started these long-term unemployment benefits to kick in. It was in 2008. This is George W. Bush's program, Alex, extended long-term unemployment benefits because of the horrible hit that the economy took in 2008. We're still recovering from that. Now is not the time to cut. Now is the time to keep this recovery going. 2014 looks like it's going to be a good year. Let's not screw it up. I think sometimes in a case like this, you have to put a face to stories like this. And some of your Republican colleagues have argued all these long-term jobless benefits is provide a disservice to the unemployed because they don't give them any incentive to work. Well, yesterday I had the chance to speak with a woman. Her name's Katie Pocket. She lost her job in February. She is still looking. She's looked at least 3 times every week, at least looking for, jobs. Her benefits have been cut off completely. I talked with her, and here's her reaction.
It's infuriating. To say that someone doesn't want to work I can't even explain it. It leaves me speechless. I would give anything to be able to get up and to go to work. I don't want to live off money from the government. I want to be I want to be how I was.
Representative Cartwright, that is a real-world message. Does that resonate in chambers? And if not, how do you get opponents of an extension to hear it?
It not only resonates in chambers, but it resonates here in northeastern Pennsylvania. Alex, we rightly and proudly claim title to Joe Biden, the Vice President of the United States. And something that Joe constantly talks about is the time his own father lost his job and what that meant to him personally, what it meant to him emotionally. And Vice President Biden makes the point cogently, I think, that when you lose your job, it's not just about the paycheck, it's not just about the money, it's about your honor, it's about your integrity, it's about your character, it's about who you are. And all of those things take a terrible, terrible hit when you lose your job. You lose your identity. You don't just lose the paycheck. So when somebody says, they don't want to work, they'd rather collect the $300 a week and put their feet up, that's about as out of touch with American actual people as it gets. Joe Biden's right about all of that.
Sir, I want to, before I let you go here, talk about the fact you sit there on the Military Sex Assault Prevention Caucus. And I want to ask you about that new report that found the number of reported sexual assaults across the military. It shot up by more than 50% this year. What do you make of that? Is this a higher rate of crime, or do you think victims are finally feeling a little more safe in coming forward and telling their story?
Well, it may not be one or the other, Alex. To say that, sexual assaults in the military spiked by 50% in 1 year, that's unthinkable. because it would require us to ask why is this happening. It's just too hard to wrap your head around why something like that could spike in that fashion. Much more explainable by the idea that people are feeling much freer to come forward and make these allegations and tell the truth about what happened. You know, to my mind, an act of sexual violence is nothing more or less than the human manifestation of evil. And it's something that's so ugly and so hard to talk about that it is unspeakable. And that's why people have not been able to bring themselves to talk about it. And I think that that's probably the answer. Another thing I want to look at, though, in the statistics, Alex, are there more women enrolled in the military, enlisted in the military in 2013 than in prior years, which could explain not only an uptick in assaults, but also an uptick in the reporting. Yeah, that's an interesting angle to use to help compile those stats. The president, as you know, called military sexual assault a scourge on the entire armed services. He's made it very clear it's an issue that matters to him. What can we expect in 2014 to try to combat it? Well, of course, just recently we passed out of the House a measure to basically take much of the criminal process out of the military. In other words, commanding officers no longer have the ability to overturn jury verdicts assessing blame for sexual assaults in the military. That's a good step. There were those who wanted to take it further, and I think this is something that will have to be part of an ongoing conversation. As we see what happens in the military, as we see the reports coming in, I think an incremental approach is probably the right one, because, you know, there is a legitimate argument that you can take things too far as taking command and control out of the military on that kind of thing. I say the approach is let's watch and see how it goes and adjust and legislate appropriately. All right, Representative Matt Cartwright, a very happy New Year to you. I'll look forward to seeing you more in 2014. Thank you. Same here. See ya.